Hello everyone, good evening. So we are now in chapter 8 which talks about motivation. Now let's talk about the traditional approach which are the AMTB and motivational quantity. So let us first know what is motivation. So when we say motivation, it refers to the desire to initiate second language learning and effort employed to sustain it. And in lay terms, it is a matter of quantity, as in the everyday observation that some learners are highly motivated and others have little or no motivation at all. In the late 1950s, Canadian researchers developed what would become the dominant model of second language learning motivation. So these two researchers framed within a wider model of foreign language learning known as the socio-educational model. So those researchers are Robert Gardner and Wallace Lambert. Next is the Attitude or Motivation Test Battery or AMTB by Gardner 1985. So most of the studies use this instrument to examine the students' attitudes and motivation levels. So AMTB is a survey used to study motivational quantity. So which it divides into three dimensions or categories. So first is the effort. So when we say effort, it is the motivational quantity which we can explain as how much effort people reportedly expend in learning the language. As in, I keep up to date with French by working on it almost every day. And the second dimension is the enjoyment. So, when we say enjoyment, it is the attitudes towards learning the second language. So, which we can see as probing how much enjoyment people report feeling when they learn the language. As in, I love learning French. And the last one is the investment. So it is the desire to learn, which can be generally understood as how much personal investment in succeeding in the language people claim for themselves. So just like studying French is important because I will need it for my career. Those are the three dimensions or categories which found in the AMTB survey. So for any given statement, so the use of Likert scale by Scale 1932 is offered, and then respondents choose on a 7-point continuum from strongly agree, which gets scored as 7, to strongly agree or strongly disagree, which gets scored as 1. So those three dimensions mentioned earlier contain of 10 statements, and the scores derived from them contribute to a single strict quantification of motivation. And according to Gardner, that the truly motivated individual scores high on all three dimensions. So, in order for us to appreciate those three dimensions, let us return to the comparison of Richard Watson and Alice Kaplan that found in chapter 7. So, this table shows excerpts comparing the two French learners on the three dimensions of effort, enjoyment, and investment. So, let us first observe the data. Okay, so as you can see, the dimension or the second dimension, which is the enjoyment, is only difference between the two learners. So it is on dimension that only Watson was rated low, whereas Kaplan was rated high. So if we accept Gardner's stipulation of what constitutes a truly motivated individual, then Kaplan, but not Watson, is truly motivated, and indeed, she learns French more successfully. Okay, next is about the integrativeness as an antecedent of motivation. So, when we say integrativeness, it is an attitude defined as a genuine interest in learning the second language in order to come closer to the other language community. So, integrativeness is an antecedent of motivation. So, which means it is one of the variables that can increase or decrease motivational quantity. So, this also has three dimensions. First is the favorable attitudes towards second language speakers. And then second, general interest in foreign languages and low ethnocentrism. Third one is the endorsement of reasons for learning the second language. And in Gardner's terms, it is called the integrative orientation. So for learners who score very high on integrativeness, such as the three dimensions above combined, so complete identification with the second language community may be observed. So for example, learners may express desires to think and behave like a person from the second language community. So at times to the point of detachment from the first language community. So some signs of this extreme case of integrativeness can indeed be found in Kaplan's 1993 account. So when she writes, why do people want to adopt another culture? Because there is something in their own they don't like that doesn't name them. So this is according to Kaplan. Gardner 2000 believed that the highest and most facilitative form of motivation is what he called the integrative motivation. And it is only attained when three conditions are met. So first is the antecedent of integrativeness itself is high, and then second, motivation quantity. So that is the combination amount of effort, enjoyment, and investment is also high, and then the attitudes towards the learning situation are positive. Next is the other antecedents. So these other antecedents are the orientations and attitudes. So let us first talk about the orientation. So when we say orientation, it refers to the reasons for learning the second language. And there are 5 orientations for learning a language that second language learners most commonly report across the context. So first is the instrumental reason or the instrumental orientation. So it is the interest in learning second language for pragmatic and utilitarian benefits, such as getting a better job or pursuing a higher level of education in the second language, or for high salary or power or career. Next one is the knowledge reason. So knowledge reason, it is the understanding of one's own identity, language, or culture, and to become more knowledgeable person. Third one is the travel. So to facilitate travel, so to other countries or parts of a country. Next is friendship. So for fostering general friendship with members of the target language. And the last one is the integrative reason. So for integrative reasons related to identification with the target culture and genuine desire to become more like members of the second language group. So the other antecedent is the attitude or attitudes. So attitudes come from the collective values, beliefs, attitudes, and even behaviors that are rewarded and modeled for the learner in the communities in which he or she participates. So there are two types of attitudes. So first is the positive attitude. So learners with positive attitude will experience success in learning the target language. And negative attitude is that learners with negative attitudes will not experience success, rather failure. So this ends my report, and once again, good evening.